this, and a lot of people said that they did, or indicated through emojis, so here I am, and I'm going to share this with you. Obviously, I marked my address off. I don't need any unnecessary visitors. And here, let's check this out. Okay. These are a new pair of scissors, but I've designated these as more as my paper and all-purpose scissors, so I'm not really worried about cutting into plastic or paper. Completely perfect. Alright, so a few things. It's really early in the morning. I don't know if I mentioned that. I probably did. Alright, so I have a number of things in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. So they canceled the moon. I think it was called Moon Glow. It was Daniel Smith's. It was Daniel Smith's extra fine watercolor. I've been wanting to slowly replace some of my watercolors with better, more light fast watercolors, and I really like the way that Daniel Smith works out for me. And I want to build onto that brand. It's going to be a little bit at a time because they're quite expensive. Just a little 5 milliliter tube does cost about anywhere between $9.99 to $13.99, which seems like it's quite a bit for 5 milliliters. But trust me when I say this stuff, watercolor is something that seems for me to last forever because you don't have to use too much of it. Alright, so first things first, this is a watercolor tin of watercolor postcards. I chose it's 105 pounds, so it's obviously I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot of multi-layers on this, and it's cold press, so that means it has a little bit of a grit to it, or a grain. So cold press hot press is basically a super smooth watercolor paper. Unless I'm using a lot of inks, I don't really like using the hot press. The cold press gives a nice feathery texture, and basically you don't have to overthink it. The water does all the work for you, more or less. So we're going to open this up. And And the tin is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you want to take a look at that. This was the only one that they had available. They did I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Henemiel. I'll have to do a little research on that company. Let's see. Yeah. It is on the lighter side of the paperweight. 105 pounds. Not great, not terrible, but they're postcards, so I guess you gotta kind of expect that. There's been a couple of years where I've actually made cards, and what I've done is I have these blank cards, and let's see if I have any here. Yeah, so I get these blank cards, and I've got a bunch of them while I was over at the Arc, and I happened to find a whole plastic envelope full of them, and I got them at a pretty reasonable price, and I've been using that, but I decided to do this because I don't have to go through the process of not only cutting and measuring the watercolor, but I also need to use this stuff. It's called, I've had this stuff for a while, it's called Yes Paste, and what this is it's an all-purpose stick flat glue. So you can pretty much use this on anything. Paper, leather, cloth, tin, wood, imitation leather, glass, metal, printed surfaces, many more. And it's water-based, so I can use my brushes with this and it's not going to ruin it. Pretty cool stuff. I bought this a long time ago. I'm surprised that it still works. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And I was doing that, but it's just it's a bunch of unnecessary steps that I thought maybe I can avoid by just doing postcards. And I thought, well, I could probably cut my own postcards, just have to make sure it's the right measurements and whatnot. But I was afraid that if I tried to do that, it was going to be rejected and sent back to me by the post office. So I bought these because they have this right here. Okay, so basically it has the lines here. This is where you do the writing, obviously, and this is where you address it, and then you put the postage on here, and then you paint on this side, and that's that. And there's quite a few of them in this tin, so I'm pretty happy with that as well. Let's see. Oh, okay, that's a lie. Alright, we'll get rid of that. So that's how many are in there, but it's whatever. I didn't spend that much money on them. I think it was like $14 with the coupon. But I like the tin. It's cool. That's a keep. Alright, so what else do we have here? Probably all my, and then we just have these. And that seems like not a whole lot. Not a very large purchase. But the thing is, watercolor paint is very expensive, and the better quality paint that you have, the better you're going to have light fastness, quality, consistency. You can. I paint with cheap paints all the time. I have a set of Marie's watercolor that I've had about the same amount of time that I've had that Yes glue. And they work just fine. It's a larger, but it's a larger tube, so I don't think I'm gonna ever get through those paints in this lifetime. I might end up just giving those away. Alright, so I wanted to go more on a let's see, oh, I was sure I'd ordered more of these. Well, I did order Moon Glow, but so what I did was I was shooting for more of a primary and some secondary set. A lot of this stuff I can make multiple colors out of just the blue, the red, and the yellow. And I mean, I didn't have to get the green, but I really, really love the Janadite Genuine. It's a beautiful color. I got the Buff Titanium because you can never have enough of this color to try to mute out some colors, and I tried to go for a more muted palette as well. I might have failed. This one is Bismuth. Oh my goodness. Bismuth Bandonate Yellow. This one is Rose of Ultramarine. So it's more of a purpley red actually than an actual red. But honestly, I think I have a red that's already you know, and I've already have the red. So French Ultramarine blue. This is some beautiful stuff. And then of course the green, jade light green, and then the buff titanium. So this is basically my starter set for this brand of watercolor. I really like the Daniel Smith watercolors, and I want to also share, kind of revisit with you the last set that I had done a video on. It is just a tool for further communication and to reach out to the people that enjoy looking at my stuff. And, you know, alright, so this is we're just going to revisit this real quick. The Profil Sawat Master Art set. And this is what I used to paint did my last live painting, and I also did a swatch. And these have, this set, this is the reason why I didn't buy anything crazy. I mean, I tried to buy the Moon Glow, which would have made a nice winter sky for a landscape painting. But I got Pyro Orange. Oh, well, I guess I already had Ultramarine Blue. Raw Sienna. And then Burnt Sienna Light. So, obviously, I didn't need any of the browns, even though I know I use a lot of them. And then I have Undersea Green. And this green is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't looked at the swatch video yet, I would suggest doing it. If you have to jump forward to, you know, you don't want to watch me put together the palette, I completely understand. You just jump forward to the appropriate time, and it'll show you, it'll go right to the swatching, and it's just, I enjoyed doing it. So, the Pyro Orange, Ultramarine Blue, which looks like I have a lot of, no wait, no. This is Ultramarine Blue, and this is French Ultramarine Blue, and I'm not quite sure what the difference is. Let's check it out. We could always swatch it but side to side. I was pretty sure there was a difference, but I don't think there's much of a difference. I'm not going to cry about it. It's not that big of a deal. But I also have this new Gambedge. So, I mean, it's kind of another muted palette with some flashes of orange and red and yellow. It's it's a really nice one. So, as you can see, this is going to make this makes a really good. This is a really good set so far, and I'm really happy with the choices that I've made. So, with that being said, okay, so these are ceramic dishes that I use for my mixing watercolor paint. Obviously, I need to just wash these. Their paint is dirty in them, and they're not usable really. So I just what I do is I throw these in a bucket of soapy water, and I just let the water dissolve it because it's water soluble. So that's another thing I like about watercolor, is it is easy to clean up. I enjoy slinging the acrylic paint, but I wouldn't mind learning how to do oil painting, because I've never had the opportunity. But I'm concerned about the chemicals triggering a migraine. My migraines are all scent triggered and light triggered. So mostly scent though. So I try to avoid anything that's going to cause me great harm in the end. But I bought this one on Amazon, and then Mom bought this for me about 15 years ago. And even though it had broken, it's still usable, and I just absolutely adore this. I also have a butcher pan for the acrylic painting, and it works really well too. And what I love most about it is the fact that it's this gray color, which means it makes it so it doesn't interfere with how the paint looks as you're mixing it. So that's always a really good thing too. What else was I going to show you? Oh, and these are my new favorite palettes, and this is what I was talking about. This is what I was using for the Profil Sawat Master Collection. So what I did was I created that swatch sheet, and I just keep that in there, and then I open that up, and then I do not, there's a lot of people that prefer to put different, fill the whole pan and let it dry out, and I'm really not a fan of that, because there's sometimes I really want to preserve the integrity of the paint in the tube, because I might want a more, not necessarily a gouache or opaque, but a more pigmented splash of color here and there. And you can't do that when you're trying, you can re-wet it and wait, but I feel that the consistency is just not the same once you allow it to dry. And these are fine. I can still add water to them and use them, but I would not want to just dump the entire amount of paint in the tube into the pan and just let it dry. It's just not my preference. These pastel, These pastel palettes are phenomenal. Now, I like what they provide in regards to color, but what I don't like is the fact that they don't have I don't think they have a very good light fast, they don't have any light fast data on them. I think maybe I could just look it up and put it in the description later on, but these are very light. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong. This one here, Pastel Dreams, is probably my favorite. Well, it just really depends on what I'm trying to work on, whether or not I want something that's like bright and cheery, or light, airy and cheery, or if I'm going on a more vintage pastel, which I'll show that one in a second. But this Pastel Dreams is more of like kind of like a macaroon range of colors. They're really pretty, and this is the sheet for it, and then these are the colors. And as you can see, those are just adorable. But I really love these colors.